Hello everybody and welcome to another live LP. Since we're out of David Cage games to play, we have to play something else now. For today, me and Teo are going to co-op in the original Metal Slug for the Neo Geo and arcade as well. So we're going to do the English version original mode. Before you ask, I have no idea what high score mode and caravan modes are. I haven't actually experimented with those. It doesn't matter. I want to play the game as it was intended anyway on the arcades and on the console, so whatever. Let's just start.
But you're not using actual monies.
Yes.
Well, no.
No, don't you see, Siri? You actually have to insert coins into his PS4.
So let's check the intro.
And Deji's here.
That's is here as well, yeah.
Yo.
Yay.
That was anticlimactic.
Super Vehicle 001 Metal Slug.
Metal Slug.
If you have digital versions of your consoles, then there's nowhere to put coins.
Alright, Teo, press start if you please. Alright,
Yes.
Here's the tutorial. Operations. Press A to fire the gun. Sounds simple enough. Press B to jump, and by B we mean the button that not that these configurations matter, because the way Hamster programmed the Arcade Archives release is that it's square to shoot, X to jump. You know, to be more akin to modern day controls that we're used to nowadays.
Triangle is used for the grenade or cannon if you're in a vehicle.
Basically, for those who are not familiar with the Arcade Archives lineup, they're a lineup of arcade releases via emulation that have come out on all platforms. The primary goal is to release these emulations and be as arcade accurate as possible. Which is why you will see slowdown in this playthrough, because that slowdown is actually from the original version as well. The game actually did have slowdown in its original arcade release.
Off we go.
It's kind of similar to how in the first Mega Man Legacy Collection, the NES slowdown was there exactly like it was, but later by popular demand, Digital Eclipse released a patch that had a turbo mode that allows you to eliminate the slowdown. You know, just so you can play a bit.
Then
Go ahead. Yes,
yeah, and then Capcom decided, screw it, we'll do the second one ourselves.
And much worse than Digital Eclipse. Yeah.
They got better with the X collection and the 0/ZX collection.
There we go. Alright, the SNK actually had a similar series of shooters. This is basically a spiritual successor of Contra, basically, when you get down to it. But
Yeah, pretty much.
But these had some sort of predecessor in the form of Ikari Warriors on the NES. I don't remember if it was released on other platforms. And as a sort of nod to that, starting from the in the fourth game, but also in some minor other places, the protagonists of that game, Ralph Jones and Clark Steele, will actually be playable along with the team. Right now, for the first game, it only consists of Marco Rossi, and Tarma rowing.
Wait, the guys from King of Fighters?
Ralph and Clark, yes, I was about to get to that. This is, weirdly enough, the only major SNK franchise that has been the least represented in the King of Fighters, which is weird as fuck, considering King of Fighters essentially has cannibalized all the other major, franchises that SNK has done over the years. But Metal Slug has been kind of like the underrepresented child of a group for some reason. Also, that slowdown. But again, it really does feel weird, because there has been some occasions, like for example, Theo has been in like one or two titles, but that's literally it. Considering how vast King of Fighters is, it's kind of jarring. And basically, the joke is that whenever a new King of Fighters has to be released, everyone is like, will we actually have Metal Slug characters in it? And it's weird, because again, Ralph and Clark from Ikari Warriors prove that you can put characters normally associated with shooting, instead in a fighting games without having to rely on their firearms. So, I don't know.
But to specifically talk about this game, yeah, Metal Slug is a side-scrolling shooter, as you can see, and much more in the vein of Konami's Contra. the main difference is that it's actually more inspired by, well, actually the countries as well. Much like Contra, it's actually inspired by Western action movies. And even a lot of the overall setting and character designs are very much inspired by Western culture in general. And that's basically it.
Basically, the plot is: are you bad enough to defeat the evil General Morden, which is Morden, I forgot what he's called. Basically, it looks exactly like Saddam Hussein, Dej.
Yeah, he has a name, Deji, but us Metal Slug fans just call him Saddam Hussein because, well, that's kind of what he is and it looks like, so.
What year did this game come out?
1992, I think?
Yeah, that explains it.
Early 90s. Again, it's... Oh shit! I didn't know, but it could be a giant fish. But again, it was done in the same vein of stuff like Commando, where you were just defeating these evil set of like Nazi-like books and their evil president. It's like generic dictator. But again, later games will even up the ante, believe it or not, and really potentially change also kind of like the status quo in kind of a way, because right now, again, the army is presented in basically a very evil, traditional evil dictatorship way. Later game, again, will spice things up in a surprising kind of way. Again, these games really do have relatively simple plots, but they do know when they can actually surprise the player. But again, at the end of the day, you're just blowing shit up anyway. They're mostly comedic in tone, as you can see. And later games will also have the character expression being much over the top as a result.
The gameplay basically boils down to just shoot. It really is meant to be an old-fashioned shooter in that sense.
And this is the game series that actually survived in terms of arcade and was the most popular in my country, actually.
Well, all over the world in general, Teo. There's a reason why they're still...
That's the thing. I mentioned this a bit in the past, but some games, like for example, some particular beat 'em ups, or for example, the Dungeons and Dragons beat 'em ups or Final Fight, even like Capcom beat 'em ups in general. The arcade culture in my country was not as prevalent as in others, but Metal Slug was like the exception, the one that survived no matter the odds. And still to this day, mind you, there are some pizza places where actually do have a Metal Slug arcade cabinet. It's a testament on how much it's popular here. I guess it also helps that some part of the cast has Italian names, although only Theo is technically Italian, Marco is not. He's actually American.
Alright. Okay, the first thing that you'll immediately come across to you when you start this game is the excellent presentation. Not only is the music awesome as heck, the visuals are fantastic and are still incredibly appealing to the eye. Thanks to some fantastic sprite work from the art team.
Like a lot of dedication got into this.
Yep.
You can definitely tell
the animations.
Sweat was poured for this.
The animations are incredibly fluid. Of course. Yes, you're right.
No, considering this is an arcade game, it didn't need to look this good. I mean.
Well, actually, a lot of arcade games in the 90s used sprites that looked this good. Actually, it was actually
the animations as well. It isn't entirely necessary for it to be the case.
Well, I mean, remind me.
Yes.
Like, how good were the I haven't played in a while. Weren't the various arcade versions of Street Fighter 2 really good animation-wise?
That too, but again, we had a more simplistic kind of way, because again, we only needed majorly the characters and the way they moved. Here instead, it's basically everything is moving. There's so many different things all together on screen. There's that.
If I remember correctly, Shiroi, in terms of visual style, the Sonic Advance trilogy is your favorite of the 2D Sonic games, right?
Yes.
All right, so.
I'm just styling for Sonic overall, like the anime-esque look of it.
Yuji Wakawa's artwork, basically. Right, okay.
Not even just I'm mostly referring to character designs. Like the environments in the Advanced series are really great and varied also, but the characters is specifically what I'm talking about when I mention this.
Oh yeah, that's because Yuji Wakawa, the guy who came up with the modern character designs for the characters, was the art director for that trilogy. So it was literally
the 2D Aqua Adventure as well, which is the same. So
same guy. Yeah. That trilogy was literally Wakawa as the art director, literally bringing his art to life. Literally, that's. And this was in the same vein, basically taking those original hand drawings that the art team made and literally trying to translate them as faithfully as possible into the game itself. Basically doing what I usually think should be the primary goal of when it comes to art direction. Try to take those original hand drawings and try to translate their appeal to the game itself as closely as possible. And now I missed that jump.
Shit.
Fucking platform.
Oh, thankfully. Oh shit.
Fucking platforms. How do they work?
Keep also in mind that this also operates as being, a Contra spirit of success. So this also operates on Contra logic, meaning that as soon as something gets remotely closely above the screen, then it counts as a bottomless speed now. So,
to my understanding,
yes,
sir.
I'll
Go ahead. I'll get the dynamite.
Were we supposed to get a new Metal Slug game? Like they announced it like over a year ago.
Supposedly, but this is the thing. Again, we don't know much about it, and I guess it's part of the thing that 2020 kind of screwed up potentially.
Yeah, because the only thing that we saw was the mobile game with their
fuck.
Oh no, they're hot models.
But that's it. No. So supposedly we are getting something, but we have to see. Keep in mind, remember, it only took this much to see the first glimpse at King of Fighters 15. So
I swear, during some of these jumps, there's some kind of invisible ceiling going on. I swear. Because check this out. When I jump over here, when I jump outside the jump is fine. But then when I jump on this specific side, he jumps lower. It's so weird.
I can tell you this, Pedro. I'm having a better time using the directional arrows instead of the analog stick. So
I like how even though there's floor beneath you, it's death anyway.
Again, it's Contra syndrome. As soon as it leaves the screen, it doesn't count anymore.
It doesn't exist anymore.
Like that.
Nobody does, Shiro. Nobody does.
It depends on the game, but yeah, I don't really.
That plays no ball.
I don't know, Shiro. I've never played a game where I actually thought the Contra syndrome was a good thing, to be honest with you.
I haven't come across it in many games. I usually play platformers, and that's like the worst place to put it.
Wait. What about Castlevania?
No.
See, it's a Vania, so I don't.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Oh, let me get up with that, Pedro. So there you go. So you can die. If you die another time, you get up. But
God, I hate these jumps.
And here's the major henchman of the dictator. I think it's called like O'Neill, an Irish last name. And this guy always wields this massive machine gun. His massive machine gun, and there you go. And every time you think you killed him, he pops up in the next game. This guy never fucking dies.
Yeah.
It's like Shaq's in everything. He had a career after Shaq Fu.
Basically, yeah.
I say career, even though he's one of the all-time greatest basketball players.
All right, Joe, I got a question actually, since you might be a bit more familiar. What would you say was more disastrous? Shaq trying to be an actor, or Michael Jordan trying to be a baseball player?
That's a fucking tough one. That's a good. Jesus.
I know.
You know what? I'm gonna go with Michael Jordan trying to be a baseball player, because Michael Jordan really damaged that. Was it the club that he was playing for, Deji, again?
I think it was the White Sox.
Yeah. But Michael Jordan genuinely screwed up a lot of crap sports-wise in terms of the professional aspects, and when it comes to that particular season, those particular seasons of baseball. With Shaq, he was just cooperating to the shittiness factors of certain movies. So I would argue that's a lesser evil. Because
also, I can tell Shaq was actually having fun despite the shittiness of the movies. Michael gave me the idea that it was just doing it because it was like his dream, but he was realizing that it was not really worth it.
Well, it's more so because he made some kind of promise with his father or some shit.
Yeah.
Oh.
Look, let's just say there's a reason why Michael immediately went back to basketball.
Yeah, it was just...
And Space Jam made fun of it.
Fuck.
It was...
Apparently doing Space Jam was refueled his love for basketball.
Hey, you know what? To each their own. People can find inspiration anywhere.
Well, it got him back to basketball, so at least something good came out of it.
Yeah.
We also got Slam Jam.
Quad CT.
Teddy, when you say Slam Jam, do you mean that WCW music album?
No.
Isn't there a sequel to Space Jam in development?
Yeah.
Yes, being made. Sure. You haven't heard the best. Made by the guy who made the Black Panther movie.
That's a thing, Sheeran.
What?
Wait,
Yes.
Black
Panther.
Black Panther. Ryan Coogler. Yes, the guy.
By the time we're recording, there's no real trailer, but an image actually. Yeah, an image just popped up in the slideshow that Warner Bros. Had during the HBO Max presentation.
And they're also hosting a contest to make a game. If you win an Xbox Series S, not an X, an S. Cheap ass.
You'll get an S and you'll like it, scrub. But anyway, to get back to this, basically, everybody, as you can see, I gave myself and Teo 99 lives per credit, just to because this game,
99 red lives.
Being an arcade game at its heart, obviously Metal Slug's difficulty is balls to the wall difficult, just so it can suck up as many quarters out of you as possible.
I've seen more difficult games, but yeah, this one still operates on the one hit and you're dead kind of trope, meaning that again you need to be on your guard constantly, and you will lose your quarters with this.
Because you die in one hit. There's no life bar in this game, unless for the vehicles.
I argue that the fun factor compensates. This is one of the arcades where I think it's more justified to have this kind of mechanic, or I mean, at least it's more satisfying. It gives you that kind of Dark Souls vibe of just one more try, and this time will be good. And no, that I'm not using this for the setup of it's a Dark Souls of X joke.
And Teo, let me ask you: have you actually played one of these games on an arcade?
Oh, absolutely. I pretty much rolled out almost the first 3 at least.
Okay. Because it's one of those things where, the Dark Souls thing can be a thing too, but when you're spending a shit ton of money, that can become a problem. So.
Well, again, if you're going where with the again, it all depends on the context, obviously. But again, if you go where with kind of the intention, if you give yourself a budget, or something, you get the idea on how much you want to go through, because again, otherwise it will be an occasion of like, I spent something on this game or something on the other game. Instead, for me, it was mostly again just for this kind of game because there wasn't much alternative. I think another cabinet was actually Primal Rage, but gotta be honest, I don't remember. It was so long ago, actually.
The primary arcade games that I played as a kid were the TMNT arcade games, the Asterix arcade game.
I mentioned... Sorry, go on, sorry.
If I remember, I also played the Pang Free, Puzzle Bobble, a lot of classics. Go ahead.
Puzzle Bobble, I played it actually on the PS1, so there's that, but... there we go. I distinctly remember, I mentioned this in the past, I still remember in 1996 to have played... one of the Capcom beat 'em ups based on Dungeons and Dragons. That was pretty cool. But I sadly could not progress that much further in that because we did not have that much time.
Mission complete.
Yeah.
I really like the music for this.
I don't remember who's the composer, but yeah, this music is really good. If you have noticed in Smash Ultimate, among the humongous selection of the songs that SNK has actually conceived towards Nintendo, there's also like a couple of tracks from this franchise, specifically a couple of originals, including, for example, the first stage music of Metal Slug 3 for some reason. I really don't understand that, especially because the boss theme is missing, which is one of the more iconic musics of the series. It's kind of a shame. But there are also some rearrangements, like the main theme or the assault theme, which is, again, pretty cool stuff.
Man, I can't believe this entire soundtrack from SNK comes with a free character.
I know, right?
Here's the basic gist of it for those who want to try out the series. For the first 5 games, get the Arcade Archives releases. They're the best versions. They perfectly emulate the original arcade versions or Neo Geo versions.
Yes.
And they're available on PS4, Switch, and Xbox One. I think PC as well, but don't quote me on that. But you can get them on those. As for 6, you can. I'll address 6 in a moment. 7. The Metal Slug 7 originally released on the Nintendo DS. However, that's not where you play it, because later on they released an HD version of it called Metal Slug XX for both the Xbox 360 and the PSP, which has been later re-released on modern systems. Metal Slug, it even includes the original DLC character that came with the original 2006 release. So get it on the PS4, Xbox One, or the Switch. Metal Slug Double. That's where you get. Now you're probably wondering, what do you mean, Pedro? So Double X? Well, that's the thing. It's a tradition the Metal Slug series has, because the Metal Slug 2, when it released, it had an even more slowdown than this game has, and it had bugs in it, to the point where SNK was forced to re-release the game with a new arcade cabinet called Metal Slug X. So basically, when you go buy these games, don't buy Metal Slug 2, buy Metal Slug X instead. That's the better version. And as an homage to that old thing, when they re-released Metal Slug 7 in HD, they called it Metal Slug Double X, basically. As for Metal Slug 6, that's the odd one out there, because unlike the other 5 that got released on the Neo Geo by SNK, remember how the SNK and Neo Geo Pocket Color got a Sonic game? That's because at the time, Sega and SNK had a partnership deal, whereas SNK got a Sonic exclusive game for their handheld. Sega got an exclusive main Metal Slug game for their Naomi arcade boards. So basically, Metal Slug 6 was made for Sega cabinets. Technically, that doesn't mean that Amster cannot release it. It's just that they have to deal copyright stuff with Sega instead of just SNK. So there's a bit
like what Capcom with the Mega Man Wily Wars situation.
Yeah, so there's a bit more paperwork involved to get Metal Slug 6 re-released.
Actually, it's possible for it, because recently SNK vs. Capcom Match of the Millennium for the Neo Geo Pocket Color was recently rated in Korea. So there's nothing stopping SNK from making another deal with Sega. So no, it's
depends.
Hopefully,
especially because there are some other minor companies involved at this point. For instance, SNK is notorious for being one of the companies that in recent times had to essentially strike a deal with Tencent. And I want to just, end at that, because if you know anything about Tencent, you know exactly why I'm mentioning it like this.
Yeah. The Metal Slug 6 was only re-released once on the PS2. It was first released on its own, but then it got also that PS2 port also got included as part of the Metal Slug anthology that was released for the PS2 and Wii, which include all the 6 games, basically at the time at least.
There was also a 3D title, but I'll be honest, I only seen like a video of it, never actually played it, so...
Since there's not a proper HD re-release, of Metal Slug 6. For that game, audience, I will be doing it myself because fortunately the awesome fans of the internet ported that original Naomi arcade release to the to the Dreamcast as a Dreamcast ISO. Why? Because basically the Naomi arcade motherboard was basically just a Dreamcast, just as an arcade cabinet, basically. And as a result, it's very easy for fan hackers to port those games to Dreamcast, basically. So that way you can that way you can burn them into a CD to play on your Dreamcast, or even play them on Dreamcast emulators. All right, final boss. Let's fight against.
First we need to get. We need to get. It was just there to tease us.
All right, so Teo will take over the turret, and I will, I guess, stay here.
Oh, okay, right. I need to be like Red Brown because it's a turret.
Yes.
You motherfuckers!
Metal Slug, written and directed by Bruno Mattei.
Oh man.
Metal Slug, directed by Michael Bay.
Too easy. Too easy.
Michael Bay manages to make his movies pristine, quote unquote. You've never seen a truly bad action movies like the Mockbusters Italian action movies of the 70s and 80s.
Okay, fine. Who's the guy that directed?
How about this count Michael Bay?
Who directed the first G.I. Joe movie?
Clips?
I shall check right now.
But in the meantime, the explosions here make sense.
G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra was directed by Stephen Sommers.
Stephen Sommers, really?
Yes.
Holy fucking shit.
Teo, I love your reactions because they're so genuine.
Sherry manages to have better genuinity than me.
Oh yeah, of course.
With a score by Alan Silvestri?
Oh my god, seriously?
Seriously?
I know G.I. Joe only by name, and even, again, not even the live action movie, the franchise as a whole, and even I find that so ludicrous.
Yeah.
Look, Retaliation was a much better film, I will say that.
What about the game that
I've heard differing opinions.
It's a good movie.
Considering it's from the director of Now You See Me 2 and the Gem and the Holograms movie, I have my doubts.
So why is not Hasbro trying to do another one?
Movie nobody knew existed. It's like, did they pull it out of theaters after 2 weeks?
So
I only know one person who saw that movie. That was Gareth from FTCR.
So apparently, there was some bits of progress being made on the new G.I. Joe movie, but as of now, nothing's really been said about it for a while.
It's interesting considering how Hasbro has managed to create a successful set of like crossover stories.
It's running soldiers.
Hallelujah. For the IDW comics. So I guess they could try a dig, at their own cinematic universe.
Yeah,
apparently there's a film called Snake Eyes.
Sorry, Dad, can you repeat that?
They were trying to make a cinematic universe for Hasbro movies. Remember Battlefield?
All right.
Actually,
What do you mean Battleship?
Battleship, yeah, sorry.
There is
now final boss time.
There is an upcoming movie called Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins.
Oh no, it's like what's gonna be like Wolverine, X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Please no.
And all being well, it was supposed to come out last March, but then the pandemic happened.
Obviously.
So the plan is to release it this coming October.
What company is behind it?
Paramount.
Because true, makes sense.
Like the other movies. And it's being directed by Robert Schwentke, who did such classics as R.I.P.D.
Oh, man.
and 2 of the Divergent films.
Oh, great. All right.
I mean, he did do Red, and Red was okay.
Alright.
There you go. Just die. Damn it. Come on. How much damage does this punch take?
As much as it needs to make
Quite
sure
a
you
lot, apparently.
Spill the quarters, yeah. There we
you
go.
go.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Yes.
And yeah, again, for being the first game and all, it's pretty straightforward. You mow through the soldiers, get the final boss, and supposedly kill him. Again, starting with the next game, things will start to get insane. Believe it.
Yeah.
And again, even for the final result screen, it's pretty cute. The actual, blueprint of the teacher of Metal Slug.
Mission all over.
It's like platformer bosses. You can submerge them in lava all you want. They're not dead.
Yeah. I know Bowser did die in New Super Mario Brothers until he
became Dry Bowser.
Yeah. And then his son had to do necromancy to bring him back.
And now for the credit sequence, we have a soldier throwing an paper airplane. Okay, gotta be honest, I'm not super into war movies, so if this is a reference to something, it kind of escapes me.
Same.
This is weirdly somber considering everything else we've seen up to this
I know,
point.
right? And again, the sprite work, even for stupid shit, like a soldier just chilling out and giving his drink, despite everything. Again, it's pretty cool, the way the dedication put into this game. We are gotta be honest.
There you go. So much so that every single game, even the most recent one, always reused the same engine and assets, with the same exact same art style that we never actually. Although to be fair, I wouldn't even be opposed to a Metal Slug 8 that fully used HD sprites in the vein of a Hollow.
Similar to Streets of Rage 4.
Yeah, or even a Hollow Knight or something like that. Like seriously, literally take those original drawings, and literally put them on screen and animate them.
I wonder if it can create potentially instead an Ace Attorney effect when the more polished, and without the jagged border, sprites may look more uncanny than the actual original ones.
Mm-hmm.
Also, yeah, one of the stages actually was enemy, and the guy is holding his pee down. Dude, go to the bathroom.
Yeah, basically.
Ah, what a great starry sky.
Don't you just love this weird, simply sounding guitar?
Love is a battlefield, lives after all.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe that love can blossom in the battlefield?
Hey, look at that!
Look at that!
Saddam Hussein
He's still alive.
lives.
Oh, even in his moment of despair, he can find hope and wish upon a star for another dictatorship. What the fuck is this ending?
Man, now you're just reminding me of how WWE announced that Osama bin Laden died.
Yeah, basically.
I'm not kidding.
They did it with two different superstars. The Rock basically said we got him
On his birthday.
Peace forever.
Yes,
and then,
peace forever until the next game, at least.
And then John Cena had to phrase it in a weird way. He said,
Yeah, after he won the
and compromise
championship.
to a permanent end Osama bin Laden.
All right, the final thoughts, I guess.
Yes.
Dej.
This game looks good. My only exposure is X, and I feel as if that one had more interesting things going on. But for what this is, it lays a good foundation.
All right.
Next. Dweebs.
Yeah, it looks fun. It's not necessarily something I'd go out of my way to play, but overall, it's perfectly fine.
All right.
Okay, Shirai.
Yeah, this looks like a lot of fun. It's very bombastic and loud. I actually I don't play them often, but I actually do like this kind of thing. The music is really good. The art is great. And it's just run and gun fun, I guess. Like, it's just,
Pretty much.
yeah, like, it's hard to think of like unique things to say about something like this. It's just, yeah, these kind of things are just, fun. And
Pretty much.
there we go.
And it's gonna get better from now on.
It's a tried and true formula. Yeah. All right. As for
All
me,
right, go ahead.
as for me, yeah, it's a classic and for good reason. Like, it really takes that Contra inspiration and really brings it to the next level by introducing some incredible visuals, great music, balls to the wall, explosive gameplay, and it just does exactly what it wants to do excellently. It builds a strong foundation that the sequels would expand upon. And yeah, it pretty much succeeded at everything it sets out to do. So no complaints here too.
Yeah, honestly, again, it sets the foundation for greatness, and again, it's just that kind of mindless fun that you want from a video game without like a Metal Gear-esque complex plot, and you just want to spend a couple dozens of minutes just shooting things up. But still in a colorful and fun way compared to something like, say, that Call of Duty did in a more bad, more bleak settings. This is also recommended to be done mostly in co-op. You can do it, solo if you want. The game is perfectly doable solo if you have, enough continues anyway. But again, it's similar to Halo. There's that kind of charm from the co-op that you get from playing these. But yeah, again, it's pretty great, and things are gonna get better from now, which is starting with the next one, which I think is gonna be X, because as we mentioned, the vanilla version of 2 is not optimal.
Yep. So tune in next time for Metal Slug X.
See ya.
No Mega Man crossover, sorry.
See ya.
See ya.